Advisor, political strategist, and former senior Republican congressional aide, Rena Shah. Welcome back to the program, Rena.
Hi, Laura. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, too. You know, we've got these reports that show that the suspect charged in the D.C. shooting was indeed vetted by counterterrorism authorities before working with the CIA in Afghanistan and then coming into the country in 2021 under a Biden administration refugee program. All right, so he was also reportedly granted asylum this year under Trump's administration. And authorities are still seeking a motive in the shooting. But, you know, when you take it all and start putting it all together, how could all of these pieces inform us on what went wrong?
Well, Laura, first things first, I got to say how heartbroken I am. I'm born and raised in West Virginia, and these two National Guard members were from my home state, and I'm just saddened, incredibly saddened that these two really were shot at in cold blood like this. And of course, with Beckstrom losing her life at such a young age, 20, it really just has left many of us feeling extremely just gutted this holiday. But putting my analyst hat on for a moment with you, let me just say this. That ambush on Friday really exposes the limits of even the most muscular domestic security posture we could have. 2,000 plus National Guardsmen on DC streets. They've been there since August 2025 from that Trump directive. But even with that, a lone actor with a handgun could kill one soldier and critically wound another within a mile of the White House. This is jarring to the American consciousness. And that's a force protection failure that will force the Pentagon to re-examine rules of engagement for these Title X troops in permissive urban environments. But shifting to the suspect for a moment, he was paroled in 2021 under the Operation Allies Welcome and granted asylum just this past April. And so, again, he had this documented CIA paramilitary background in Kandahar, Afghanistan. But early reporting already shows that friends of his flagged mental health red flags to the FBI tip line as recently as last year. So this isn't just a vetting failure, it's an interagency intelligence sharing breakdown between the CIA, DHS, and the FBI. And this is what national security Republicans will weaponize for years. And I'll just say this lastly, politically, the optics are brutal for Democrats. This was Biden's signature humanitarian program that produced the first lethal domestic attack by an Afghan national in U.S. history. So again, expect House Republicans to take action here, to open a select committee on this kind of vetting, on Operation Allies Welcome is what I believe they'll start a select committee on, and they'll focus on the vetting before the new Congress is even sworn in, likely.
Yeah, and Rena, the State Department is pausing the visa process for all Afghan nationals. We were just talking about that. And the nonprofit group Afghan Evac reacting to these developments, writing, quote, "This violent act does not reflect the Afghan community, which continues to contribute to the U.S. and undergoes some of the most extensive vetting of any immigrant population." So what do you make of this pause and this statement?
Well, this statement is excellent because it is wrong to paint with a broad brush. I myself, within the Washington, D.C. area, have met scores, I mean, I'm talking dozens of Afghan nationals who come here and love this country so much. They are happy warriors, people that are fighting the good fight just to make their families safe and to really promote American values within their communities. They don't come here and remain in their silos. They go into every industry. They're law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, like the vast majority of Americans. So one bad actor should not shift how we look at an entire population. But saying this, again, I will acknowledge that within 72 hours of this shooting, USCIS freezing all Afghan refugees and parole processing, and the State Department suspending every visa category for these Afghan passport holders, it's just a really shocking step. It's a knee-jerk policy reaction, because what that did was include 38,000 pending special immigrant visas for interpreters, people who proudly served along our American troops in Afghanistan, put their lives on the line to do that, to help Americans. So I just think looking at this and knowing the facts here, we all ought to acknowledge that this is the fastest broadest country-specific immigration shutdown since the 2017 travel ban, and we
Right.
all should be very skeptical of it because the legal authority here is very shaky. Trump is leaning on an obscure section plus a national security finding here, and this pause covers even pre-cleared SIV applicants who already passed biometric screening and
Sure.
CENTCOM vetting. That's massive. So I think, what we're going to see here, Laura, and it's very important to note the bigger picture. This moves the Overton window. This is a policy that would have been radioactive back in 2022. I mean, suspending immigration from a country where we fought a 2-decade-long war is now administration policy with something like nearly 60% of public support in the latest YouGov Economist poll taken after the shooting.
All
This
right.
just tells you how fast the pendulum has swung on immigration. And I think we're going to see lawsuits from veterans groups and the ACLU. I believe they've already filed in Boston and Alexandria, Virginia federal courts.
Listen, and we also have to
Yeah.
wait and see how long this pause is going to hold. I mean, there could be a chance that maybe it won't be as long. We'll see what the administration decides to do on that. But we've
Yes.
got to leave it there. Rena Shaw, thank you very much for joining us. I always appreciate your perspective. Great to have you back on the show.